We don't know what the St. Louis Cardinals really are doing, aside from putting together the oldest starting rotation in all of baseball. They have signed Sonny Gray to a 3-year, $75 million contract, which effectively removes Gray as an option for the Diamondbacks. We discussed him last week. They also signed Kyle Gibson to a 1-year deal worth $13 million. And, of course, Dodgers legend Lance Lynn to a 1-year, $11 million contract. Their current starting rotation, their average age is 35 years old, which I don't know if that's a terrible thing.
It doesn't seem like a good thing.
It's not a good thing, but I mean, the Cardinals aren't kind of going into I don't know. Are they rebuilding? Are they not rebuilding? I mean, these kind of don't seem like terrible options as far as if you're putting together, kind of a team for 2024. Like, they know that they had a lot of shortcomings when it comes to starting pitching after a lot of the trades they made, and having some of these veteran guys maybe around some of the younger guys that are coming up in their system might not be the worst idea in the world. But it definitely doesn't feel like the Cardinals are making the most of Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado's time on this team with this starting rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Sonny Gray, it makes a lot more sense, right?
Yes.
I mean, with Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn,
not so much.
The order that the Cardinals did this in was not particularly advantageous. I mean, the fact that it started with those two guys, I know there were a lot of people concerned about what their next move was going to be, and the fact that they really had to get one of the top tier starting pitchers in order to make it all make sense. And they did get one of those guys. I mean, Sonny Gray, we talked about him on the show as being a solid target for the Diamondbacks, potentially someone who very much belongs in that upper tier of starting pitchers available in free agency, but is also not going to cost you 6 figures. And 3 years, $75 million is certainly, nothing to sneeze at. That is a hefty investment. But I mean, it's still not costing you nearly as much in guaranteed money as Aaron Nola or Blake Snell or Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So this makes sense. This makes more sense now that Sonny Gray is a part of the mix. But it's still, on the whole, I mean, looking at this Cardinals rotation, Sonny Gray, Miles Mikolas, Kyle Gibson, Steven Matz, Lance Lynn, on paper, that's what their rotation would be if the season were starting tomorrow. And I still don't know if that's like exactly what Cardinals fans would have had in mind. I mean, Mikolas, Gibson, Matz, Lynn, none of those guys had ERAs that were especially pretty last year. I think Mikolas was high 4s. Gibson was high 4s. Yeah. Lance Lynn was in the high 5s. Steven Matz had an okay-ish year for them. So Sonny Gray is clearly the, far and away the best pitcher in this group. And the fact that he's part of it helps things out, but it's still not maybe what Cardinals fans are hoping for.
Connor makes a great point. He says in the chat, Gray's contract worries me about what other free agent starters are going to be asking for now. He said he was just a Cy Young finalist, but $25 million per year for a 34-year-old starter, not great. I mean, not something that I'd be excited about. Brian up there in the chat says Cards are getting the free agency work done early so they can chill the rest of the offseason. That is my holiday shopping strategy right there. They're following that holiday strategy. But Nicholas says definitely feels like we might head down the trade route with how strong these starter free agency contracts are. That could be the case. But remember, it's more about the fact that the Diamondbacks are willing. They do have some money to spend. It just depends. This market, the direction it goes dictates how much they're going to spend on what, right? Like, I think that starting pitching is still going to be a priority for the Diamondbacks. So I feel like if it's going to cost them more, that's where they're going to put more of their funds, and then maybe try to find more of a bargain in a right-handed hitting outfielder and a DH potentially.
I don't think 375 is insane for Sonny Gray. I think we talked about Fangraphs projecting something like 3-65.
Yeah.
I think MLB Trade Rumors had 4-90. So yeah, I guess the AAV is higher than what I might have expected, but getting him for 3 years instead of 4, I do think is a bit of a win as well. With an aging player, you might be more comfortable going to a higher AAV over a shorter term than extending it out for another year. So there very well might have been a compromise here. Maybe 4-90 was on the table, and Sonny Gray decided to go to 3 years instead, and with a little bit of an uptick on the AAV. So it's not a crazy contract, but we have a couple of mailbag questions about the ramifications of this deal for the D-backs. So we'll get into that a little bit later.